This is an overview of the specimens you're assigned to study in Module 4, Biolucida Collection. You have the trachea, 3 specimens of the lung, you can see here, actually 4 specimens of the lung, and the tongue, kidney, esophagus, the duodenum, 3 specimens of liver, the gallbladder shown as a part of the liver, embedded in part of the liver, and the pancreas. I'm going to start here by a tour of the trachea. We've actually annotated many aspects of the trachea. What you're seeing here is a trachea lumen in the center, and surrounded you can see the C-shaped hyaline cartilage, and then the epithelium that lines it, which is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. That's also known as the respiratory epithelium. It's not the single flat simple squamous epithelium you find in the alveoli of the lung. That's not what is meant by respiratory epithelium. That epithelium forms a barrier that will demonstrate in the lung specimens. So this respiratory epithelium, you'll be reminded of the structure of the pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. You'll see the thyroid on either side. Of course, we're not studying the thyroid in this module. That's the next module in the endocrine organs, but you can look at the thyroid follicles and review simple cuboidal epithelium. We actually had a question if I enlarged that by using my Z marquee here, then all of the cells lining this are a single layer of cuboidal cells forming simple cuboidal epithelium, which line the follicles of the thyroid gland where the thyroid hormone is stored. So enough of that. Let's go back to the overview. And next to the trachea is the esophagus, where you'll be able to study the layers of a mucosa as well as the submucosa and the external layer. And so let's just take a quick look at that area, where this is the epithelium, stratified squamous, non-keratinized, and then you've got a very thin layer of lamina propria, which is right here, and then the cross-section of these cells, these are smooth muscle cells. Do you recognize that some of the profiles have nuclei in the center and others don't? That's very typical of cross-section of smooth muscle. So that's the muscularis mucosa. This is the lamina propria here, and of course the epithelium. And those 3 layers form the mucosa. And then underneath that, this is the submucosa, where you could find in some sections part of the length of the esophagus does have mucus glands, but they're not shown here. And then the outer layer can be composed of either purely smooth muscle or striated skeletal muscle, or mixture of both, depending on the level. So there is the esophagus and trachea, and we did label like here, this is an arteriole. You see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of muscle cells and an internal elastic membrane, and next to that is a vein, and this is actually the jugular vein in the neck, and then we also labeled the vagus nerve here. You can see 3 fascicles surrounded by epineurium, and then perineurium, and then of course endoneurium around each of the nerve fibers. So as you study the organs, you're going to be constantly brought face to face with tissues, the 4 basic tissues, because that is what, those are the ingredients or the materials from which all organs are constructed. So now let's end this one, and we'll go on to the other specimens.